What is up, Retro Maniacs? Welcome to the Retro Card Chat Podcast. My name's Mike. I am from Mike's Retro Trading Cards, and I'm joined by one guy that's a hobby superstar and the other that is quite a bit below Neo in the pecking order. They are, of course, EP Ericaholic and Joe Day. How you doing, guys?
Yeah, I got snubbed. I don't know.
You got snubbed.
No, that's fine.
Man. No, I'm good. Don't need
good.
Joe. That's okay, Joe. We'll take you on this show.
I know.
I don't want you to be on anybody else's show.
And I was feeling under the weather anyway, but I'm a game day player.
You are. I know. Sick Joe Day freaks me out a little bit. I'm just gonna put that out there. But yeah, Joe's feeling a little under the weather this week, and it's not for the normal reasons.
It is not for the normal reasons. I was telling the boys before we started that I'll crack open a nice cold water today because I usually do it after a beer fest or something, but I go dry for, a month or so. So dry July into August is starting a couple of days ago. So I will be without beer. I don't know if EP is going to pick up the slack at all today, but I am sans beer for the next few podcasts, especially considering Brian Gray did not get at us on Twitter when we talked about a Leaf sponsorship of the podcast.
You should go dry. You should go dry, and you should go dry until he responds.
Until Brian Gray sends us cases of beer. Yeah,
I'm not sure people are ready for sober Joe Day. I was ready to put Leaf all over this screen here that you're watching, but no, not going to do it now. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get a beer sponsorship on our own. I was at the Rusty Rail again, doing some business. They're not quite ready yet, but maybe in the future. But yeah, just to let our viewers know, Joe is under the weather, and we know it's legit because he missed Beer Fest.
Did miss Beer Fest.
I
didn't want to. Wow. I was worried I might have had the vid. I didn't. I've tested negative a couple of times, but I didn't want to get anyone else sick. It's a big event. A lot of people drinking from cups they probably shouldn't be drinking from. So I said, it's probably smart that I sit that one out. But
what kind of beer fest is that people are sharing cups?
That doesn't sound like a good idea.
I mean,
in a post-COVID world,
yeah, it's not ideal, but
I can tell you're not feeling well though because Kenny Pickett's not even spinning.
He's
around.
Not. You know what? I can't spin around. He can't spin around. That's all I'm gonna say.
Fair.
We're all static today.
How's it going, EP?
Doing good. Like I said, I've been cut out the beer except for until next weekend when my cousin's coming up from Maryland. So this is the only time I'm drinking beer. So I do have a beer here. Okay. I'm gonna drink that. I was gonna ask you guys: have you? I almost said it during our pre-show talk. Have you guys seen or played Immaculate Grid yet?
No.
It is amazing.
I see you tweeting about it all the time on Twitter.
Yes, well, because it's amazing. It's awesome. But right now it's only baseball. But they were bought by Sports Reference, which has they have baseball, basketball, and they're talking about doing all the sports. So what it is you there's like a grid, a 3x3 grid. And they'll have the Reds and the Yankees. And so you have to find a Reds and Yankees player.
And those are baseball teams.
They have a full data. Yes, they are. But they're going to be doing football and everything. So they're going to be doing football, basketball, and hockey eventually, they said. But anyhow, so they'll mix in on the third row. Sometimes it'll be a 40 homer season player with that team, or a 300 wins of a career, but player for that team. He played for that team at some point during his career. And then sometimes they'll do 2 rows of the easy one. So it's actually it's a lot of fun if you know sports, especially if you've been paying attention for as long as we have. So I think the football one, Joe, you would definitely would love that. So I think it'd be, I think it's awesome. I'd recommend anybody try it out if you're a baseball fan. And when the other ones come out, try them out too.
Okay. Well, did they
high praise
for that endorsement?
Yeah, right. I like.
They going to sponsor the channel?
But it's free to play. So.
They have ad revenue.
Wait, do you have them on your T-shirt right now? Do you have the name of the company on your
T-shirt?
Oh, okay.
I have our podcast on my T-shirt.
Okay, I have our podcast on my T-shirt too. I don't know if Mike, do you have a podcast?
Well,
he's finally done it. EP.
I didn't want to show it off, but I'm rocking my new rated rookie T-shirt.
He's finally done it. Yeah.
He's all the way off Fanatics and all the way on.
He never
Panini.
even wore a Fanatics shirt. All of a sudden, 1 week later, boom, he's wearing the
Yep.
Panini stuff. Jeez.
Can I make one point? I actually
No.
looked for a Fanatics t-shirt and they don't sell them.
Of course you
like I can't find them anywhere. A Fanatics logo t-shirt? No, like I can't. Which is also incredibly difficult to search for because they make all the clothing,
they make all the
like
t-shirts,
everything right? For everything. So if you type in Fanatics and logo and t-shirt, you will get like trillions of responses, but not any that the Fanatics logo.
Right.
I just pictured like a search history with Fanatics t-shirt. No, Fanatics, just Fanatics. Fanatics t-shirt, just with Fanatics. Yeah. Fanatics in quotes. Just a long list of all these
no
searches.
way to look for it. Like if you want to look for that piece of clothing, like I don't even know how you search for it, but I didn't find it. I even thought about like downloading the logo and making a shirt, and then I thought I might get sued. So yeah,
no, you would not might you would.
Yeah, we're not playing around with Topps and Panini anymore. That's a big boy company. So yeah, they'll definitely sue the little YouTube guy. Oh man, I am exhausted from my stack sale. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I've been running this for a little over a week now. And I'm going to show you my, this is not playing well. Maybe if I do it from this side, you can see all the cards I'm selling. Holy cow. It's like 3 parts of this full. Yeah, including a couple members of the channel here that have been watching and talked, Scott Spalding and Paul Ellison, 2 of our long-term viewers, and they're participating in the stack sale, which is pretty cool. So
that is cool.
I might have to give them a couple freebies for supporting the channel.
Just them.
Just them. No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I like to take care of the people that have supported us from a long time back. I don't know why anybody watches this, but I appreciate that they do, and I think
from that very cool. First video of me cracking open a Tom Brady rookie card, all the way to now.
Yeah, the content has changed a little bit. Slightly. We have become more ourselves and deal with more of what we actually like. But yeah, the reason I bring up the stack sale is not to promote it. It's going crazy. I love it, but I did promise to do the card show vlog with EP, and I just have not had time to edit that video together. So I do want to get that out there. It might be a couple weeks because I'm
drop it the week of the national. I already told you.
Ooh,
and just put card show vlog, and people will click on it, assuming it's national coverage. We gotta get those clicks. Right.
That's the way to do it. Sounds like a really good plan. Yeah. We'll drop it that Thursday, like right after we do
this. Ain't just a hat rack, man.
The first
ain't just a hat rack.
Day of the show.
Brain in there.
Yeah. Okay. I'll have time to get it edited by then. So the sale will finally, like I've had 3 nights last week where I got 5 hours sleep, which, 1 night maybe wasn't bad. 2 was getting bad, but 3 was really bad. Yeah. At my age, 5 hours just not good. I know, EP, that's like a lot for you, but but for me,
5.
like,
Jeez.
Yeah, I usually get 7. So 5 is just
how do you get anything done?
EP hasn't seen 7 in about 20, 30 years or so.
I actually sat down the one night after I finished the sale, and I fell asleep. I was not trying to fall asleep, and I fell asleep, and I woke up like a half hour later and couldn't even wake up. I was like still half asleep, and it freaked me out a little bit. But yeah, but hey, I'm selling a lot of cards, so pretty.
That
cool.
Mattress is getting bigger and bigger, baby.
Let's hope.
Double king. I don't know if that's a thing.
It should be, though. Yeah. Should just fill the whole bedroom with a bed.
Right,
like leave a little walking space to the bathroom and out the door. Which, that'd be perfect. I'm okay.
There you go.
That. Hang a big TV on the wall and you're set.
Yep.
All right. Well, someplace where I'm sure there will be big TV screens are going to be the new card shows that are going to be run by Fanatics Events. They're doing this in partnership with IMG, and they're expected to launch in 2024. But Fanatics is looking to up the card show game. Now, these aren't going to just be card shows. They're, supposed to be, as they say, content, community, and commerce. So there will be card show elements to it, but it's going to be a lot bigger than a card show. It's going to be like a fan fest, just go around. I'm sure you'll see lots of apparel for sale, probably find lots of hats for sale, cards for sale, like a bunch of athletes are supposed to take part in it. I mean, this is a great idea. And might I add, this is an idea that we talked about in the very first episode of
Gotta
this
reference
podcast.
it again.
One of the cool things I did think he talked about in terms of marketing was, he's talking about the national, he and Bill Simmons were both talking about that and saying about how you go to the card show and it's the same as it was 10 years ago, as 20 years ago, 30 years ago. There's nothing different. Every card show you walk into looks exactly the same. The characters are exactly the same. The dealers look exactly the same. And, he balanced that and like compared it to the Comic-Con and like how they make that such a big experience and how much fun the companies have, the vendors have, the people that go have, and how he likes that idea and wants to try to incorporate that into card shows and maybe have, not just one big card show year, have it in multiple cities around the country, all different times of the year. I think that sounds really exciting. Now, aside from EP's hair and the fact that
that was going to be my takeaway.
The fact that like I look really strange without regular headphones on, we nailed it in the very first episode. And like, as much as I'd like to take credit for knowing all this stuff ahead of time, Michael Rubin from the beginning has said what they're going to do, and they've like one by one been doing every single one of these things. And I don't know, we talked about it back then. We think it's really exciting. I think it'll be a good thing for the hobby.
I think the best thing for the hobby was not having the camera angle up like this on me. I think that has
the hero shot.
Oh, that was not. Ooh, that was rough. Yeah, we talked about it. We talked about it the very first episode. The whole episode we talked about was all about Fanatics and this interview he did with Bill Simmons, Michael Rubin did with Bill Simmons. And we talked about having real athletes who were really card collectors who could really promote it. You go to Comic-Con and you're going not just for the vendors, but you're going for those, the Iron Man coming out, Robert Downey Jr. coming out with the Iron Man helmet or whatever. And Hugh Jackman coming out and saying Old Man Logan and things like that before that movie. I mean, that's what you're looking for. So I want more of that. If you're going to make it to echo my comments from the first show, if you're going to make it a Comic-Con level event, it needs to be beyond vendors. They can't just be Fanatics definitely. With all sorts of booths and, things like that. It needs to be folks coming out. I don't care. I think I even made this joke in the first podcast. I don't care about Jeff Wilson doing a box battle with someone. I don't think that's a fun event. If you're going to do an event, it needs to be an event. You need to have big names. You need to have people actually interested in the hobby going up there and talking about cards.
First off, let me say, give me a week or two, and my hair will get long enough that it'll look like that again. It just gets out of control when it gets so long. So I'm just gonna say that. Then
I think you're a little bit more salt and pepper now. By the way.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
a little bit. With the last year or so.
This show definitely is. So, Mike, what were the three marketing buzzwords? Like the marketing guy was like, "Oh man, I got it. What were they again? Can you tell me again?
The 3 C's: content, community, and commerce."
Okay, all right. I just wanted to hear them again, just to make sure to get them in my brain. The marketing guy was super excited about that.
Oh yeah,
super duper buzzwords. But anyhow, I was thinking about this, Mike or Joe, when you were talking, and I think like for the Comic-Con type thing to work, you need to get a huge buy-in by so many people. Like you need. Like Beckett needs to come into something like that and say, listen, we're doing $9 slabs for the next month. Yeah, we get full service. You get all the grades, everything for $9 a card, and that like stuff like that has to happen. You have to have a buy-in. You have to have I guess Fanatics would be there for sure, but so all their products, like they have to make a huge announcement about a new product or a new insert set or something like that. They would really have to have that sort of stuff going on at everyone, not everyone, but at least a couple of those shows, like the bigger ones. So I think they need full buy-in from people. I think
that's a question that I have for both of you, then I don't think they would include things like Beckett and PSA. I really don't. I think it would be Fanatics. It would be Fanatics everything, because we talked about this before the show, and I think it was you, Mike, who said it's not just, it's going to be Fanatics hats, it's going to be Fanatics shirts, it's going to be all of those things. I don't think they're going to have anyone else in there. I think it's going to be an all Fanatics. We're really going to pump up our product, not just cards, but everything. I think that's what they're going to be going for. They're not going to let any other company ride on their marketing back, is my prediction.
Okay, but do you think though, if they did that they can do the thing that they want to do, like without PSA there, without like without the grading side of this? Like, I realize it's still a little bit of a niche,
Well,
but
it
there's a lot
depends
of
what
money.
percentage of the actual show is card related, right? Like,
that's true. Okay.
If a quarter of the show is card related and the rest of it is all their other properties that they're trying to build up, I wouldn't be surprised if half the lobby is just blackjack tables, right? Or sports betting, right?
Seriously,
like I think it's going to be full on everything, 100% Fanatics. That's it.
It's a good question though. Like it wants to be done like in a big scale, so maybe they won't, because they're not just focusing on cards. But then again, kind of feel like, although these aren't going to start till 2024, they may own a grading company by then. Like,
that's true.
Really, out of the whole list of, like, we should really go over that list again sometime, because they have done everything he said they were going to do. Like, he laid it all out before they even took over, and one by one they're checking all the boxes there, and grading is really the last one. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I feel like at the very least that they're going to have a partnership with somebody. Like, some company's going to have to pay them to be like their official grading company, because I can't like it's not just knowing they want to do it. It's like hearing him say it, like the way he talked about it, like the way he wants this to work. He had a clear vision in his head, and grading was part of that. So like
he went through the whole thing, the one-stop
shop. I don't
idea.
feel like they're going to have another company handle that part of it. Like, they know how big that is. Like, he's done everything else on the list. Until I see him not do it, I'm going to believe he's going to keep trying to check that last box. But like, that would totally fit into the show, right, EP? Like, Fanatics grading company, they fit right in. They'll grade all the cards on site. And I don't know. I do, like, back when we first talked about it, I was excited about it. I am excited about this. Like, I think we would be in, right? Even if the card show is only part of it. Like, we like sports. We're sports fans. I feel like anybody who collects cards, you came from that, most likely. So you're going to enjoy the other parts that may not be card related too. And Joe, the gambling thing, I don't think is a joke. I mean, in states where it's legal, it's very possible maybe there would be gambling components.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was 100% a possibility to at least sports book there on site, like the blackjack table, things like that. I think that's more of a joke. But the actual sports book part of it, I could totally see being a huge part of their events, which then begs the question. I mean, is there going to be an age situation to get into these? Is there going to be like a roped off area? Again, we're just spitballing here what could potentially be there, but you would think there'd be a rope off area.
Clearly you have to have access to kids and families, like that's part of it, and wanting to get those people in. And you probably get a lot of people that are into sports that may not collect cards. Like, this is all part of trying to grow the hobby and like bringing people in. If they walk around that area and see stuff, people that may not have ever gotten into cards, maybe a kid will. So I mean, like we've said, nothing bad to say about it. And I know, EP, you and I talked about this many times, that the card show has not changed in forever. I am happy to see a new, form of it show up. Like it's past time to just go and walk by the smelly dealers that you sometimes come by, I want to do something more.
Yeah, I feel like the first show I ever went to was at the Susquehanna Valley Mall, or at the Columbia Mall even maybe. And I remember it is like the exact same thing as we see.
Yeah, it is.
Today. Like, and that was
literally
30 years ago, 32 years, 34, 35 years ago. And like, so, I mean, like if you think about it, like, so something to give that some more energy is a really great thing. Just go back quick, Mike, when you started talking about them checking the boxes and us doing a recap video or a recap video, before you even said about checking the boxes, I was picturing you putting a giant check mark for every time that they got something, and then just a ... as in that's going to be coming. Like they're definitely going to be doing it. So yeah, I agree 100%. And then just going back to the shows, one last point on the shows that I wanted to make. Like, Joe, now that I think about it, your idea makes total sense. Fanatics, like, they want to control what they're doing, and they're by buying all these things and doing all these things, they're controlling it. And if they have these shows where they have all it is their stuff and their people, they can totally control it then. And that seems like their kind of thing. They want to have the ultimate control for all these things, and good or bad. And so getting their own grading company before that starts actually makes quite a bit of sense. I mean, that seems like probably a goal for them to get.
And one point I do want to make too is it's not like they won't have dealers there. I think they will have dealers there, but I think they will be Fanatics authorized dealers that have gone through,
right.
Like people who they send their product out to, the card shops, like the bigger card shops like Burbank and things like that. I don't think they would have, small randos just who can afford to pay to have a table there, because they want to make it look like an FYE. I always use that. I'm aging myself by using FYE as my touchstone for that. But like just a clean, manicured, sterile type of look. That's the type of setup they're going to have. I don't think they're going to just have whoever pays the fee like at the National and just rolls in with their table of junk wax. I think it's going to have to be an authorized Fanatics dealer or authorized Fanatic shop.
Yeah, do you think it hurts? Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say, do you think it hurts like the smaller show, like the show that we went to last weekend at the Susquehanna Valley Mall? Do you think this at all hurts those smaller shows, or do you think it's not going to be a freak?
I mean, where we are, like Philadelphia will probably be the closest anyway. So, or New York. So they have big shows there anyway. So they're not the same thing. But if the dealers from around here aren't going to be able to go to these shows, like Joe said, I kind of agree with that, Joe. It'll probably be a benefit of being one of their buyers too, is maybe you get
having actual access.
Yeah.
To those,
which I understand. And, maybe that's a good way. Like, it's a better way to have control over the customer's experience there. You don't have to worry about shady dealers doing shady things at your show. And, I know some people might not like the fact that they might not allow everybody the chance to go to it, but I can totally understand why they wouldn't, and do see how it could potentially be better for everybody going if they do have a little more control over who they let set up. Well, did we talk nicely enough? Well, do you think they'll?
I was waiting for you to rip off that Panini shirt and throw a Fanatics one on quick.
Told you I can't find one. Maybe a hat. I can't even find a hat. So, and I don't wear hats, but I would have. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe one of the companies they'll let in is COMC. Have you guys seen their big move to kind of position themselves as the group submitter for grading in the hobby?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I think this is really kind of an interesting step that they're taking. I mean, COMC, I love COMC. I think maybe the site could use a little updating and stuff, but like talking about the app coming out and stuff like that, like it's a fantastic place to go to look for cards. I haven't sold any cards I've sent in. I have bought cards and sold the ones I bought on there, but I think COMC does a great job. They're great too if you're looking to comp like lesser expensive cards, like fantastic resource for that. But they announced a new direct to grading service. they're going to process the cards you send in within 1 week. And they currently are only working with CGC, but they said they will also be working with all future grading companies. So apparently they're looking to make connections with the other graders. And basically they're just taking the work out of submitting your cards. You will be able to take your cards you want to get graded, you put them in a card saver just like you would, and you send them to COMC. You go through their site, you fill out your information there, and then they handle everything else. So, for people that don't want to have certain minimums for cards or use a group subber that they may or may not trust, you're going to be able to do it through COMC. It's going to be done pretty quickly. They'll get the cards back. You can put them in your vault there. You can list them for sale, or you can have them set aside for the next order you have shipped back. Like, I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of positives in it. I'm sure some people out there will nitpick, but I think this is a fantastic idea for people who like to use group submissions. Why not have a big company that you can trust in charge of it instead of, we've seen the number of group submitters that have sent stuff in and then gone out of business, like Mark's Cards. Like,
I was going to say, or group submitters who then submit to another group submitter who then goes out of business.
That too.
Card Collector 2 with Mark's Cards and PSA. It's the classic. You always want to, if you're going to do something like this, you always want to have the largest business possible doing it for you. Like, you feel confident that they're not going to try and nickel and dime and screw you out of your cards and your money. I don't, with a company like COMC, I don't see that happening. I don't see that as an issue. Sure, it can happen. Anything can happen. But just in general, like, if I'm going to do that with a company in the hobby, COMC is probably the safest one to do it with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you mentioned this, Mike. Was there a price, or like, did you have to be a member or anything like that?
You don't have to be a member, as far as I know. Like, you'll just, obviously you have to have an account with COMC, but you just sign up for your account. But you would just sign into your account. You would go to the submission center and it'll be an option there, and you click what you're sending in and they'll take it from there once they get it. I don't know. They haven't listed the pricing structure for it yet, but I'm sure it'll be competitive with other group subbers.
And someone who I follow on Twitter, I don't know if you guys do too. His name's Jake. He does a lot of the non-sports and Marvel stuff. He goes through them quite a bit to grade cards, and he has had a very good experience the several times he's done. So, it's great, especially if you just want to buy a card to grade it to then sell it. You have that whole kind of train there working for you, and instead of having to do it yourself, it makes a lot of sense.
It's a good point there
specifically.
Too. Because like currently right now, you can get the cards graded, but you would have to send them to COMC, wait for them to list them like in your account, which takes quite a while right now, and then you could send them from there. And this is bypassing like that whole process. Plus, they're going to do high-res scans of the card raw and graded. So after you get it back, if you confused what grade you got, you're going to be able to look side by side on their site at the raw card and the graded card, so you can see where the flaws might have been if they were there before. But it's like, so since they do offer the CGC grading, but this is cutting out that wait time of having to have the card entered into your account and everything first. So
I feel like I have so many talking points on this topic. Like, there's so many different amazing.
That's what we're here for.
So like, so I'm like, if I go off on a random tangent,
that's okay.
It's all related. This is great for both COMC and for the customers. Like I'm right now at a point where I have cards set aside that I want to send to PSA, but I don't want to pay the $100 to join their thing. Then to get the $19 deal, but it's probably cheaper to spend $100 and to send in 20 cards at $19 than it is to send in 10 at $25 or whatever. So it's I'm here. These people don't have to worry about that. They can just go through right through COMC, send it to COMC, and like you said, Mike, they like right now with the direct to grading, they'll be able to just send it in. It'll go right to grading. I don't think they're offering any service where they're looking over the cards for people. But I mean that's fine, because if you if your barrier to entry is either what I'm doing right now or the paperwork and shipping and all that sort of stuff, they're going to handle all that. They're going to be able to, if you only want to send in 2 cards, they're still going to be able to get you that $19 deal or whatever the deal is of the bulk deal is at that time, because they're going to be sending in so many. And also one of the I love this for COMC as a way to build their customer base, because they're going to be getting people sending stuff in and think, oh, I can just list it now right on COMC. And I think that's great. And also, I have not seen, I'm not saying it never happens, but I have not seen anywhere on social media where people are saying like, I got all these cards from COMC and I got the wrong cards, or I got this and that. It seems like their inventory system, despite how many cards they have, they are really good about the inventory, are really good about handling people's cards. And so I feel like I had not seen it. I'm not on Twitter 24/7, so I'm not sure. I'm not on any social media 24/7. But I have not seen or heard a lot of complaints about that sort of stuff happening. So I feel like I would feel more confident sending to them, because they don't have any sort of don't seem to have any sort of weird inventory type issues.
Yeah, the one caveat is they do have to find a way to offer this for PSA. Like that'll be the big thing. Yep. Like if they aren't able to do that, this is going to be a big nothing burger. But yeah, they do have to do that. But apparently, definitely by the wording, they're trying to offer this for all services, which would be great. But like you make a good point, EP. Like I'm on Twitter quite a bit, and I rarely see anybody complaining about COMC. Like they are in this hobby where people complain about everything and every little thing. Like to have a company that you see very little of that about means they must be doing a good job. Like they are one of the premier companies in the hobby that I think in general most people really have a positive opinion of. So you know, they're definitely a good company to do this. And like I said, like if that would be great for them too. Like if you can send in cards that will then get graded if they have something with PSA, and then you can just offer them directly on COMC, like that. Like think about like, okay, I sell a lot on eBay. You guys do too. And now if we had a way to be able to get a card graded that we could just go into the account, you don't have to worry about the photos or anything. You could just list it on COMC and they can list it on eBay for you.
Right.
Yeah. Click of a button. Like imagine how, like I'm a seller who doesn't sell, like send in to sell on COMC, but right there, that would be well, maybe I'll just do that, because like that would be fantastic. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. It definitely takes out a lot of the work. I mean, you know, EP, you have time issues, right? I mean, being able to send stuff off to be graded and listed and not have to worry about it, that, you know, that sounds like a great deal. And if they get PSA, I mean, I have no plans on sending cards to PSA, not because not some Joe Day will never send to PSA again. I let my membership lapse, you know, like it was good for, it felt like 3 years that 1 year membership was, because of the pandemic and all that. So I let my membership lapse. If I did want to send a card to PSA, I'd either have to send it to one of you guys if you were doing an order, or now I would have this opportunity to send it to COMC without having to pay $99 or whatever it is for a membership. So, you know, that's definitely in the cards, I guess, pun intended. But the thing with CGC is nice right now is they're getting a lot more of their slabs out, which, you know, until they pick up PSA or SGC or BGS or whatever, until COMC picks up those other card companies, CGC is getting a lot of their new, especially now with their new slabs, their new look, their new grading system, all that stuff. They're getting a lot more of their new slabs out there, which is good for them for sure.
I feel there's just to take it one step further, Mike, what you were talking about COMC. Also, the other then will handle all the shipping. Like, so, I mean, like you're shipping one time to COMC,
I know.
and they're going to send it to get it graded, accept it back from getting it graded. They're going to list it on their website, then list it on eBay, and then ship it for you. Like that's an incredible service. I wonder, again, the pricing's not out there yet, but I mean, that's just an incredible service. Like saves all the time. Like,
absolutely. Yeah. If they get PSA, like I'm sure we aren't the only people that sell on eBay that will be thinking, maybe I'll just do that, because that would be fantastic. Yeah. Like, I do love, like, I want to send in cards to COMC. I've thought about it. I've put cards aside a number of times, but it's that like 4-month wait potentially that keeps pushing me out of doing it. And you think it's a good idea, and it is, but that wait is just so hard. But now with this service, they're going to be getting the cards in, sending them out within a week. When they get them back, they're going to go right into the system. Like, definitely something I would be interested in, at least in trying out and seeing how you do. And boy, I really think that could help them grow their marketplace even bigger. It's huge already. Like, don't get me wrong, it's huge, but it could definitely grow, because I think there are a lot of people like us that'll go, hey, I'll try that. So
I don't know if we've ever talked about it, but Dr. Beckett, like he's a fiend. He's one of those dollar box fiends. So that's his game. And he almost all of his sales are through COMC. Like his game is finding cards in a dollar box, getting a deal on them, buying 100 of them for, $50 or $60 or whatever the dealer offers him, and then he'll sell them on COMC for $5, $6, $8, $10. That's his game. And he speaks, that's his, like, almost his entire game, except if he'll have like everything else that doesn't sell there, he'll just sell in giant lots, or it's something that he can't. If it ends up being an actual dollar card, he'll just sell it as a giant lot. But he always talks about COMC in his podcast, and that's an example of somebody who uses it the way I think it probably should be used.
Oh, yeah, Mike took off the Fanatics shirt, and now he has a COMC shirt on, I think.
Hey, listen, I wear a COMC shirt.
It's just rotating.
I will wear shirts of anybody who wants to sponsor the podcast, except for Whatnot.
Whatnot's it. Yep, that's my line.
All right. Well, oh boy, do we want to talk about this? I don't know.
I know. Yeah,
there was some major drama in the hobby this week. And
wait, what drama in the hobby? That doesn't sound right at all.
I know. I'm sure a lot of people probably already know about it, but I'll lay the situation out there. Apparently, Chasing Cardboard, they're a huge YouTube channel, very popular, very good reputation. I guess they recently bought a collection of cards and featured that on their channel, and they had a Rock card, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, a wrestling card that was signed as The Rock on the card, and this was part of the collection. Apparently, they chose not to send it in to get authenticated. They chose to sell it raw on eBay. The card sold, I think, for like $60 some or something on eBay, which, let me say, if you're not familiar with wrestling autographs, The Rock does not sign. He is a very, very difficult autograph to get, especially on a wrestling card. I would say a modest estimate, graded, like authenticated by Beckett or PSA, the card would be worth at least $1,000. Probably even more, because there just aren't a lot of them that turn up. So, they sold it 66, I think it was, and the person who won the bid did the quick opinion from Beckett about the authenticity, and it came back that it was likely not authentic. The buyer let them know. Apparently, they did a video then saying about how the buyer backed out of didn't say he backed out of the deal because it was likely not authentic, and they relisted the card on eBay. Sports Card Radio, of course, found out about this, and they made it public knowledge in the hobby that they not only did they list the card raw on eBay, they sold it. The person let them know that Beckett said it was likely not authentic, but then they relisted it with that knowledge. Sports Card Radio called them out, rightfully so. I'm sorry, I'm not going to get into it. I'm going to keep trying to do this, but long story short, after that, Chasing Cardboard, Ty Wilson, I believe his name is, from that, did a video and, doubled down on it and basically, did the old trope of, sports card radio, just negative content, doing it for clicks. We're about hobby positivity and all that stuff. Like, this is where we're at. I'm going to save my opinion. Joe, what are your thoughts?
Full disclosure, I absolutely love the channel, Chasing Cardboard.
It's a good.
By the way,
so much fun.
When I heard there was a big controversy with Chasing Cardboard, I thought it was EP's secondary podcast, Collecting Cardboard. And I was very concerned. Yeah. That would have made a lot more sense than this. But like a fake award was given and it wasn't real. And like, I thought that was the controversy, but apparently it's about an autograph. So joking aside, I am a big fan of the channel. It's a wonderful channel. I actually generally dislike hobby positivity. And so it's weird that I actually enjoy this channel. So it was disappointing, to say the least, that first off, I've said so many times, I don't sell raw Tom Brady rookie cards because I don't trust that they are 100% authentic. Like, I don't, like, I'll buy them now because they will go through the eBay authentication process. But as a seller, I've always been one that I want to authenticate anything that I have to make it easier to sell. If what you're telling me is true, and I have no reason to doubt it's not, that a rock autograph that's authenticated is worth $1,000 authenticated, there is no way Ty, as a businessman, would not have paid to have that authenticated. I refuse to believe someone who seems to know as much as they do about the hobby, and this is his career, this is his business, this is his job, this is what he makes money for his family for, would not send that off to be authenticated to get the 10 to 20x jump in value that he would have gotten otherwise. I can't put that thought in my mind and have it make sense. Like, if you are an actual business person trying to make money in the hobby, you are sending that off to be authenticated. So it begs the question, did he know from the jump that it probably wasn't authentic? I'm going to say probably yes. And the double down on it, the negative versus positive thing, I made the joke that I don't like hobby positivity. It's because the people who talk about hobby positivity are the ones who are saying it to cover up some of the stuff that they've been doing, because it's their quick defense. It's like,
Bingo,
it's just someone coming after us negative. So
the
I got to
sports card radio being negative again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, and I'm going to leave it with this and hand it off to EP. Like, I watched Dan the Cardman's video about this as well. And I like Dan a lot. And I get what he said. It's like, you have someone, and like, he was kind of questioning like Ty's emotional stability. Almost, it sounded like. I disagree with that. What I will say is, if someone comes after you, you've built this thing up from the ground up, your bare hands. It is a positive show in general, and someone makes fun of it. Sports Card Radio did not just call out; they did their thing, right? They made their whole show like a spoof on something that Ty created. It gave me a chuckle, sure. But when someone comes after you and you've created something, I can certainly imagine, because that's how I am too. I would push back. I would be upset. I wouldn't have doubled down, but I would definitely be upset and be offended a little bit if they went that direction. But I get it. I get why they do it. And it did give me a chuckle at the end of the day. But yeah, I think Dan went a little too far with the, he has some sort of emotional thing tied to it. Well, of course he does. He created this thing and someone's calling him out for it. That's just a natural reaction, in my opinion.
EP?
I mean, you guys, most of the viewers probably know that. Well, probably won't be surprised that when I say that I actually like hobby positivity. It's just I do, and I don't.
Imagine that.
Yeah, and I like hobby positivity. I'm not a huge fan of hobby negativity, but I also recognize that hobby negativity is necessary. And there are a lot of times it's necessary. Sometimes it's, sometimes it's not. But there are a lot of times when dudes do things and they should be called out for it. And myself, if I pull a card out of a pack and if it's a raw, it's an auto, I feel like I'm gonna sell that. Not going to question whether it's authentic or not. I assume that the company has done all their due diligence, even though we have examples of companies not doing their due diligence and the cards not being the actual autos. We've seen that. But if I'm buying a collection and I get this card, an auto that is not a pack pulled auto with the guarantee or whatever, all that sort of stuff they normally have, like I'm going to question. I'm going to think to myself, this is at 50-50 at best. This is a real auto. And if like Joe, like you said, if this is my job, this is my full-time job. Even if it's me, if I right now, definitely not my full-time job. I go and I buy a collection, I get a card like that. I'm going to get it authenticated. Like I would not want to take that chance. Same thing with me, Joe. I have several Brady rookie cards that I probably should sell raw, but I don't want to deal with customers saying the customer that buys it saying, well, this is a horrible condition. I want a slot that says PSA 7, even though I probably get a little bit of a downgrade in the value, the price I'm going to get out of it. But I just want that. I as also a seller, I want to have have confidence in what I'm selling and to have the buyer know what they're getting from the outset and not have any sort of problems. So, and again, I'm doing this very much part-time, and I feel like if you're doing it full-time, and especially if I think, Mike, you said that they did send in a bunch of other cards to get them.
That's what I heard. Now, I'm not totally.
They did send cards. I watched the video. Right? Yeah. They did send cards to get graded, and a lot of them went to SGC. So I will say that. But they do send hundreds of cards a week, I would suspect, or a month to get graded. So it's not like it would be like this outlandish thing to send a couple extra cards.
So why not just send in this one? Like, why not just get it taken care of? You know what? I feel like that's.
Before Mike goes on, what I'm sure will be a long
get your words in.
I'm going to get my words in now.
I got myself a drink. I cleared my throat. I'm ready to go.
So before Mike goes on his rant, I do want to say one thing and this is when the story first came out. I texted you guys about this. The thing that does crack me up is that the biggest story and the story that has gotten Dan the Card Man quite a few more subscribers recently. And one of the biggest things that Sports Card Radio has gone after in the past has been grading, right? And these companies screwing up. And it just kind of made me chuckle that when this story came out, they're like, you need to send this off to BGS. They are the leader in authenticating autographs. They are the one you need to send it to. I get that. But 5 minutes ago, you were just saying how terrible this company is and how they're authenticating fake autos from the backdoor cards that are also EP authenticated from the company, because on the back it says these cards are real, right? Mm-hmm. So it just kind of, I'm like, maybe do 2 separate videos. Do the one where you're shitting on BGS and the card companies for backdooring cards and authenticating fake cards. And then another story talking about how great BGS is at authenticating cards. So it doesn't look so ridiculous when you put them right next to each other. That was my only takeaway. I was like, really? You can't put those 2 stories together. Maybe separate them out a little bit.
In fairness, Dan didn't crap on BGS because he was the one that pointed out something I didn't know, that they don't authenticate the autographs on pack pulled authenticated autographs. So, whether or not you agree with whether they should or not, like he never really crapped on BGS because he was the first one to say it really wasn't their fault. They're just grading the card and the auto. So, but time for my rant. If you don't want to hear Mike rant,
do you want to go full screen? Like we can back out. We can mute
ourselves. I will say
that's a little too much, Mike.
Yeah, for nobody wants to see that much of me. But okay, first of all, this whole hobby positivity and negativity crap needs to stop. Calling out bad stuff is not hobby negativity. Hobby negativity is when you're just crapping on stuff to crap on it. When actions are actually taking place that cause a reaction, that is not negativity. That is getting a story out there and making people aware of a situation that they may not be aware of, and a situation that could cause them harm or lose them money, get people scammed. They're completely different things. The hobby positivity is not doing a fake video and smiling through it and doing whatever content. Like, the content creators are so messed up right now with this hobby positivity, hobby negativity crap. It is what it is. Like, we talk about our love of cards all the time. That's hobby positivity. We don't have to go out and make a smiley, happy music video to do that. People that are watching this because they like cards. We like older cards. We love that stuff. We're positive, but then we'll talk about at the same time the dumb stuff that people are trying to pull on people. That's not negativity. I'm sorry. You need to go check your dictionary and figure out what it is. Calling people out for doing bad crap is not negativity. Negativity is just when you just don't like something. Just, well, I'm not going to use PSA grading, whatever, you know. So Sports Card Radio gets a bad rap. They have brought a lot of stories to the forefront. Yeah, maybe the way they do it rubs some people the wrong way, but then again, if you aren't doing that thing in the first place, they don't have a reason to do a video like they do spoofing you. Okay, second of all, about the specific situation. Again, I do not believe for 1 second that they thought that card was real. Like you said, Joe, if you got a card with a rock on it, you're going to spend what, $30-$40 to get it authenticated for it possibly worth $1,000 or more. You're going to do that. Like, and it comes back not authentic. You're like, okay, fine. Here's one of my biggest issues that nobody talks about. By putting that card on eBay and not knowing it's authentic, you're putting a potentially fake card into the hobby. You're having somebody spend their money on something. Maybe it's a kid that saved up his birthday money or something, and all of a sudden, here's a rock autograph. I could get it for $70. Cool. And he's going to hold that with him for a long time and then find out down the line it was a fake card. So save your hobby positivity bullshit, because what you did by putting that card potentially into the market is bullshit. You are not being positive. That is one of the biggest negatives you could ever pull in this damn hobby. And you knew damn well what you were doing. You aren't going to just, I would never buy a collection and get a rock card and go, oh, I'll just throw that on eBay and assume it might be real. Like, I care about what the person who buys that card will have happen to them. I don't want somebody to get scammed, not for my own personal reputation. I don't want that person to spend money on something that might be fake. If you're a positive influence in the hobby, you care about that. You care about your customer's experience. You care about whether or not that card that they might cherish for the next 20 years, like, is real or not. Like, come on with the positivity bull. Like, get out of here. I'm sorry. There is just absolutely no way that they didn't look at that and go, well, let's just sell it on eBay. I don't know if it's real. You shouldn't be doing that. If you're a big dealer, you don't do that, period. All three of us sell on eBay. If you got an autograph card of Ken Griffey Jr. EP and a collection, would you just sell it on eBay? An on card with no guarantee with it? No,
I said no way.
Exactly.
It's 50-50 at best that it's real, right? 50-50
You're
at best.
never going to do that. We're small time sellers compared to them. They knew what they were doing. I've been doing this a long time. I've been selling on eBay a long time. If I don't know something's real, I'm not listing it on eBay. If it's something I want to know if it's real, I'd send it off to get authenticated. If I got like a Mickey Mantle card in and I wasn't sure it was real and people couldn't tell me for sure, I'll send it to see if it's authentic. I'll send it to SGC or send it to PSA before I would ever sell it. Like, this is no different. And there is no way that you sell cards for a living and you make this decision for any other reason than you probably assume it wasn't real. So let's just sell it on eBay, get whatever we get for it. You don't care. don't talk about positivity if you don't care about your buyer's experience. You have to care about them as much as you care about the money that's going into your own pocket. And if you're using your good reputation to be able to pull shit like that, then that makes it even worse. End rant.
The one thing, just give me 1 second, Joe.
Yeah.
The one thing that I wanted to say that I didn't get to say, that I forgot to say when I was talking is, and Joe, you talked about this, is they, when they were told, hey, I said this, I checked with Beckett, they said this is likely a fake. Like at that point, like I've complained not complained, but like I've rolled my eyes or been a little upset when I see people burning a card or tearing a card in half on a video for clicks or or whatever, to be like edgy or whatever. But I feel like when you have a card where you're like, oh, it's 50-50, this is probably not a real auto, and somebody says, Beckett says this is probably not a real auto, that's the point where you burn that card, or you throw, or you tear that card in half.
Yeah.
Like that is the point when you do that. That card is dead. That card is done. Like that card should not be.
Keep it out of the hobby.
Yes.
Like if you're a positive influence on the hobby, if you get a card like that, and again, not even to send it in to get authenticated, get a quick opinion from them. What it costs, $10-15? Like have PSA and Beckett both do it, which by the way, Sports Card Radio had PSA give a quick opinion. They also said likely not authentic. So not even to do that and to throw it on eBay, like that is not positivity. That's hobby negativity. Talking about this and calling it out isn't. What you did was hobby negativity, because you're throwing that fake autograph out into the hobby for people to buy and assume it's real.
By the way, Mr. Potty Mouth over here, right? Like
I know,
he yells
right?
at me all the time for swearing, man. There's a couple of F-bombs. There's going to be a couple of F-bombs coming now. What makes me think that it's 100% they knew from the jump? They send cards. If they have any question. Like I watch all their videos. If they have any question about a card, like a mantle or anything like that, they send it to SGC. Yeah. And they have had cards come back inauthentic, like fake cards. And they talk about it on the show. So if they were going to, I don't understand. It's the same thing with backyard breaks, right? When that whole thing happened and there was that, $25,000, and this was a $25,000 card. And people were like, why would you risk your reputation? You're such a huge business making so much money. Why would you risk your reputation for one card for 25,000, but still one card? Why would you risk your reputation for $66?
Yeah.
Like, I don't get that at all. And as soon as the guy came back and said, hey, I sent this through the process and they said it's most likely not authentic, I'm not going to pay. At that point, just pull it down and send it. And if Sports Card Radio comes after you at that point, you can say, oh, yeah, hey, he sent us the thing and we sent it off to get authenticated.
You could say, yes, we should have done that. And the buyer let us know. So we pulled it and we're sending it to find out.
Right.
That's the response.
That is the response.
That's all you had to do.
$66. I don't understand it. And the worst part about Ty's whole response video was the people he was like talking about as positive influences on the hobby. Yeah. That was the worst part to me. Like Jeff Wilson, I'm sorry, I get it, but no. And Card Collector too, he does that positivity stuff too. And I don't know, it just comes across as fake. So, I don't know.
I want to just add one more thing that, everybody says that Sports Card Radio is so negative and they only do this for clicks. What Ty did in his double down response video is the same thing, because there are people out there that hate Sports Card Radio. And if you do an anti-Sports Card Radio, oh, look at us, we're the positive side, they're the negative, you're doing the same thing that they're doing for clicks. That's all you're doing. Plus, he was trying to get people to sign up for their email list in the video too. Come on. Like, do better. You want to be positive. Don't say you're positive. Just do better. Do the right thing. Do the right thing consistently, and you'll be positive. You don't have to say, look at us, we're positive. Look what I smile when I do my videos. Like, no, you just do the right thing. You do it consistently. You'll be positive. Sorry. Go ahead.
I feel like I just need to defend myself just a little bit on my positivity and negativity rant. When I say I love hobby positivity. It's like when I see something cool on Twitter that's very positive, I will retweet it. It's not, but when I see something that is cool on Twitter, I won't retweet that because that's the fake positivity. I don't want any part of that.
You're
Fake
sharing
negativity.
a true love of cards. You're
Right.
not coming on and doing videos where you're fake smiling and talking in a certain way, and like that's the difference. Like,
Right.
you don't
Fake
have
positivity
to
and
make
fake
yourself
negativity.
positive.
I don't want any part of those, like those extremes. The fake sides of it. But give me, when negativity is deserved, give me. I'm okay with that. And positivity, when I see something cool, I'm definitely going to push for that. And I want to see more of that in the hobby. But again, it's got to be real. It can't be
the only real positivity account, baseball card collector, investor, dealer. He's it. Like,
Seriously, yeah.
Like, if you're going to talk about a big account that's
a
truly positive
force.
It's
in
him.
content, absolutely,
and
because he loves what he does, and he puts videos out there showing he doesn't point to himself and smile and talk a certain way.
But he also won't talk about stories like this, which I think some people just don't want to hear it, and I get that. Like, if you are just interested in watching stuff about cards, like that type of videos for you, you're probably not a fan of Sports Card Radio, just because some of their delivery. Of course, since the jump, I've talked about how much I enjoy their videos, but some of their delivery is a little much, right? But like, if you want true hobby positivity, it's Chris Sewell. Hands down, 100%. He's the one to go to.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I'm sure we don't have a whole lot of time left here, but I do want to touch on this a little bit. Rob Veras, the owner of Burbank Sports Cards, was on the Jeff Wilson show. I'm sorry, man. They were holding their microphones like this in front of them.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I didn't
freaking me out. I did not like that. But other than that, I mean, it was a very interesting discussion. He is like, he's right up our alley. Like, I have so much respect for him and his business there. They buy and sell single cards. That's what we do, EP. Like, we dig through stuff, we get low end. They are like the pinnacle of that process. And I have a lot of respect for the business they built there. Their inventory is like fantastic. They were talking about, Fanatics wanting to 10x a hobby, and he made the comment basically saying that gambling wasn't going to 10x a hobby. He made some really good points there. He called breaking fractionalized casinos, which I love that term. That is a great term. And he made a great point too, that like, if I lined 30 people up in my store here and did a break, like at least 29 and maybe all 30 of them are going to leave disappointed. And like, I love it, having had a retail experience. I still own businesses myself. Like, the customer being happy is important to him. He wants parents and kids to be able to come into a store. They don't do breaking. And like, he wants everybody to have a positive experience and stuff. And I am 100% behind that. It makes total sense to me, but I don't agree with him that gambling can't 10x the hobby. And I've been saying this for a little bit. I hope I'm completely wrong. Let me preface that. But I feel like Fanatics, because they've gotten into sports betting and they want to be a big part of sports gambling, is going to treat a lot of our hobby as gambling. And unfortunately, I feel like they could 10x the hobby by getting the gamblers to come into it. And unfortunately, the parents walking around with the kid might not be the people that Fanatics really care about. They might say they do, but like, I feel like they want to get the people that are willing to spend $1,000 a week betting on games to start buying into breaks and grow that. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Joe, you've been a little bit of a gambler. What are your thoughts?
I've seen me do it. I've seen me do it.
10x it?
So how do you define the hobby, right? So if you define the hobby as people who actually care about cards, no, I don't think it does 10x the hobby. If you define the hobby as people who want to make money off of cards, sure, absolutely, because you're going to go in there, you're going to bid on a game, or you're going to bet on a game, you're going to see maybe there's an offer to get on a break of a super high end product that's like, hey, if you like betting the the 3 parlay or whatever on this basketball game. Maybe you'll like jumping in and trying to get the X team that has the best player. I don't know, the Spurs or whatever. Like, there's going to be that aspect of it for sure. I mean, because for gambling, like a buddy of mine said, I stopped gambling after I paid off my student loan debt, right? But a buddy of mine said to me, he goes, yeah, but you took one thing that's like kind of like gambling and just transfer it to another thing. And that's completely true. I mean, and that's when I bought the Brady and cracked it open to try and gamble to send it in to be a PSA 10, right? So it's true. It's that gambler's mentality. So if you take a gambler who is used to putting money out for some sporting event, you could easily say, well, why don't you jump into this break? You could get a card worth $30,000 and all you have to put into this break is $500. Like, it's absolutely 100% could expand the hobby to probably people we don't want to see in the hobby, because they're going to get that $30,000 card and they're going to just sell it and they're just going to keep doing that again. I'm not going to tell anyone how to collect, but if you're talking about just true hobbyists, I don't think it does expand at 10x, but people interested in cards, I could absolutely see it expanding 10x.
I have some stuff to say, but I will also say though that if we were playing like around the horn right now, Joe just got all the points. He's in the final round. I'm knocked out because that was perfect, like succinct. Like definitely, like you got it. So thank you for that. Like when I think about like people like us want to see more kids in the hobby, because that means that our tribe is growing. The people that like the cards and like the experience. So that's why, and the people that are getting in it for the monetary side of it, they're not our people. Like that's the bottom line. Like I feel like that is where we're at. And again. The thing is, though, those people, and I'm comfortable in my seat because those people that have the money, the people that want the monetary stuff have the money. They're the ones that are going to be able to like get more money and pay more, and that's kind of what it'll help Fanatics as a business do more business stuff, and so that's really kind of frustrating.
And I'm sorry that I failed to mention that. I know, EP, you are a little bit of a big time gambler yourself. I was in the casino with you at the National last year, and I saw you cash out that huge win you had on the slot machine. So I should have pointed that out. But yeah, like when you're talking about 10xing the hobby, I think people are mistakenly thinking that means the number of people in it. I think Fanatics is talking about the amount of revenue generated.
We said that episode 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Go back. Everyone, stop right now. Go back, watch episode
1. Yes, absolutely.
Get those numbers up.
That's the thing. Like 10x doesn't mean there needs to be 10 times as many people in the hobby. They're going to throw us our little bones here and there to chew on, but again, the first episode, you talk about Michael Rubin saying he wants people to be able to, I can't get this out of my head too. He wants people to be able to pick up their phone while they're watching a game and open their app and buy a jersey or place a bet or buy a trading card. Like he had placing a bet and buying trading cards all in that same little comment. And like, I do think they want to take advantage of the gambling aspect of cards and sell it to the gambling base they're going to have already using their app to place their bets with them. I hope I'm wrong, but I mean, I hear his words and I know they've been doing everything he said, and I just feel like that might be what's happening.
And it's wild to think that a for-profit company would care about profits. I mean, I know it's shocking to all of us,
especially when they paid like way more for the licenses than anybody ever did. Like, they're going to be monetizing it and trying to make as much money as possible. And it just seems like common sense that gambling is like the quickest path to get there. I don't agree as a collector that it's the right path, and I'm worried about what our hobby might look like in 5 years. But at the end of the day, what are we going to do about it?
Yeah.
Nothing. All right. Well, I feel like that was. Oh,
is this the end?
I feel like it is.
Okay. Well, we've had a lot of bad news and a lot of.
Oh, do you have good news?
Use the word negativity. I don't want to say it was like, but it's necessary negativity. Let's put it that way. But I don't want to end on a bad note. when Mike was going through his rant, I had a thought and I wrote something down.
Oh, no. I saw you writing.
And
I'm worried.
I just want to end on a good note. So
Okay.
Here it is. I want the viewers to all think, what would the Mike's Retro Trading Cards music video look like? What would be the music? Leave it in the comments. What would the video look like? And what would the songs be? And just leave it in the comments, please. Thank you.
Wow. I did not know that was coming. That was not a planned bit, but please let us know. I am interested to know now. And so if anybody's watching after my rant, that probably turns people off in droves. But you know what? I think we covered a lot this week. I don't have anything else to say. I'm done. You guys?
Nothing.
Good?
No.
All right.
Nothing.
We will see you next week. Take care, guys.
See you, boys.